Look at JD sitting there, thinking that he's the man. Not knowing Rob Your Blind's right there, right around the corner.
Love is in the air, I put on the gas man.
Hello.
JD's just sitting there, lost in love, not even knowing he sat his cell phone down.
I can't believe it.
And just like that,
It's all mine.
and with his cell phone, he has access to
It was
everything.
too easy.
It looks like he gave it to Chance Wilder to do some hacking.
My plan is complete. I'll have it all.
And with your cell phone, he'll have your email, bank account information.
If you could just confirm your name and address.
Sergeant Be Safe, is that you?
Hi, JD. How are you?
I really need your help.
Okay, what happened? How can I help?
I laid my cell phone down and Rob You Blind stole it.
Oh, yeah, I heard you were lost in love at that Valentine's Day gala.
Chance Wilder used the information to steal my identity.
Well, that's unfortunate. Did you put a lock on all your personal information? If not, I suggest you do that now, and I'll do what I can.
Can you get it back?
I promise you I will do my best. Identity theft is something that is constantly on the rise. Make sure you protect yourself in all ways possible. Hey, get your hands up. You both are coming with me. You're under arrest for identity theft. Ooh. I'm Sergeant Be Safe. That's your tip of the day to get you on your way.
Subscribe now.
Let's go start the show. And we are live. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to another episode of Black and Blue. This is the podcast where we interview individuals who are first responders and in the field of law enforcement who are either rookie, seasoned, or retirees, and we discuss their stories, their experiences, their publications, their trainings, anything what may have you. And we have had an exciting lineup all this year and all the previous year, 2022. And I promise you not to disappoint tonight. We have an exciting and amazing interview backstage, and we're gonna I'll introduce him in a minute. I see a couple people are on here. Greg Foster's on here. Seti P is on here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please tag, like, and share. I'm your host. I'm Coach Clee. I'm your motivational speaker, your empowerment coach, your author, and your favorite baker's favorite baker. And we're gonna have a good time tonight. You guys, thank you guys for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in, I just want you to be aware we're streaming on 5 different platforms. That's right, 5. We're on 2 on Facebook, 1 on LinkedIn, and 2 on YouTube right now. So make sure if you have a question, this is very interactive. You're going to have to put your question in the name field in order for us to see it. I can't see who's on until you do something. If you want the shout out, you got to put your name and where you're from in the comment section as well, and we'll give you that shout out that you're looking for. So whether that's your gruntled or disgruntled, we're going to have a good time and throughout this entire podcast. I appreciate you all being here. Got special guests. We got interaction. Most of you already know that. I'm looking at a few comments here. How this show, there we go. I see Justin Doyle's on here throwing a little wave. Absolutely. Yes, thank you for tuning in. This is sponsored by One Way Publishing, who also sponsors Sergeant Be Safe. Okay, you already saw one of the cartoons in the beginning. You'll see a few more cartoons throughout the remainder of this interview here in interjections, commercials or so. But One Way Publishing is actually a publishing company. I wrote 5 books myself through One Way Publishing. They also have other clients that have come through and you had their dreams come true. Their motto is they could turn a mere thought and turn it into a book that's bought. So if you ever thought about writing your own book, this is the platform to do it. You can use the workwithclee.com and scrolling below, or it's in the comment section as well. You can reach out to, not right now, but make sure you reach out to that website and see what it's all about. All right. But I'm going to be done talking about that because I'm going to let Sergeant Be Safe and his friends discuss more about One Way Publishing. You guys stay tuned. Have you ever wanted to explain something, tell a story, or leave a piece of you behind? Have you ever wanted to write your own book, but not specifically know how to do it? Well, get ready. One Way Publishing's here. We can turn a mere thought into a book that's bought. People need to learn from you. They need to hear that story. Kids need to read that book. Imagine if you wrote your own children's book and get to read it to your kids. Here at One Way Publishing, we can get your fiction, nonfiction, fantasy, instructional, what have you, done. All at a reasonable price and definitely a reasonable time frame. And if you don't believe me, ask Sergeant Be Safe. He's working on his right now. He's definitely writing the best chapter of his life. Make sure you check out his cartoon skits that air on the podcast Black and Blue.
As Sergeant Be Safe said, that's your tip of the day to get you on your way.
And there you have it. Like I said, One Way Publishing. There's a lot of information right there. I hope you guys enjoyed that commercial. But like I was saying, this platform is geared toward law enforcement, okay? And we have a bunch of discussions on here, and we try and humanize the badge. We try and bring light to experiences that happen that are kind of in past and current, and how things that we see moving in the future as well. We got a special guest here. Some of you may know him, so others of you may not. I'll introduce him and bring him to the stage here. But get your questions ready. It's going to be interactive. We're going to learn a lot. This story is very amazing and tremendous. And I know some of you already knew that we had someone else lined up. I want to give a shout out to our special guest for making himself available very last minute and coming on the platform. And I know it's going to be great. So without further ado, I'm going to bring him to the stage here. His name is Robert Ledogar. He's a 7-year United States Navy veteran who was also the equivalent to an MP. Correct me if I'm wrong. I forget the actual name of the MOS or the job title from when he was in, but he did 7 years there. And then he transitioned into the U.S. Marshals. And in the U.S. Marshals, he did a 24-year career where he had a bunch of highs and tremendous lows as well. You know, he has true grit. He was able to persevere and succeed while arrows were being thrown at him, and still maintain to be a supervisor in the U.S. Marshals and work on the Fugitive Task Force, which is like a dream job to many, and go after top-notch, high-level criminals and bring them to justice as well. So without further ado, I'm going to bring him up because I'm excited to have him, and we're going to jump right into this interview. Robert, are you here?
Yes, sir, I am. Hello.
Perfect. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing good. Real good.
Perfect. Thank you for making yourself available to come on the platform. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thank you for getting me on.
Yes.
I'm happy to be here and to talk about it. So my name's Robert Ledogar. People call me Bobby, or actually Led, which is short for Ledogar. I'm from Queens, New York. I worked in the Eastern District of New York for almost 25 years as a U.S. Marshal. I was a deputy for about 10 plus years, and then I became a supervisor, and I worked in the Fugitive Warrant Squad, and I was part of the Regional Fugitive Task Force up there, just like you said before. I'm originally from New York City, from Queens. I grew up my whole life on the water, which is odd. Where being in New York, I lived in the Rockaways, and went to grammar school out there, and then I went to high school in Queens. And after that, I went in the Navy for almost 7 years, and I was just like you said, like in the Army of the military police, but in the Navy we're called Master at Arms.
Okay.
And, but I had to go to the Army MP school because the Navy did not have an MP school created yet. They were just like a collateral duty. So I had to go to Fort McClellan, Alabama, for a few months to go to school there. It was great. Then I was in Desert Storm for 14 months in Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and a couple times up in Kuwait.
Okay.
And then I left there. I went to Italy for 2 years. Then came back to the States, was in Virginia. And then I was an instructor in Virginia for special warfare. Then the Marshals put out an announcement and put in for it. And having a good, clean background and resume, I passed the test, I passed the interview, and then a couple of months later, I had to get out of the Navy early and went right into the Marshal Service.
Wow.
And, did that, and now I'm retired with just over 32 years of military and government service. And I actually work now for a private organization, international organization, as like their security consultant manager. So I do some traveling. But doing good. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for giving us a little background. I want to kind of go back a little further. When did you, when you enlisted in the Navy, or when the Marshals were actually having the transition and you were able to qualify and got picked up by them? When did you actually know that you had the burning desire that you wanted to be a first responder or in law enforcement, or actually go out and catch bad guys and help people? When was it the burning, like, this is what I have to do?
Well, you know what? When I was growing up, like I said, I lived on the water. I was into boats, and in high school, the TV show Miami Vice came out. So, I would watch it with my dad. My mom and my sister. My sister hated it, and from the first show, man, you watch it and you see Crockett and Tubbs partnering up and cruising around in the Ferrari Daytona and then a Scarab speedboat. I'm like, I definitely can do that. And it was that was it. That would push me. I wanted to do it so bad. I actually wanted to go into DEA.
Gotcha.
But, it's a hard process, man. I was in high school. I knew I wasn't going to go to college. It wasn't for me. So I enlisted in the Navy, and then I went to military police program in the Navy. Loved it, and I got as much training at as many schools as I could grab. I mean, I went to MP school. I went to MPI school, Military Police Investigator School with the Army, which is unbelievable.
Okay.
Then I became an instructor, and I just built my package and you get all that training, and it's equivalent to college, and I got some good credits and everything, and then I just took a couple of college classes here and there, and I got my degree while I was in the Navy.
Nice.
And then the marshals, when you're in there, I knew I wasn't going to do a career in the Navy, but I still wanted to be a federal agent. I wanted to go to DEA. My dad was on me to just get a city job, go with the PD or corrections. But I wanted to be an agent, and I started putting in my applications and applying for stuff. And the Marshal Service had this program called Operation Shining Star, and they were going for military people.
Gotcha.
And it just so happened they were doing a lot of recruiting in Virginia, and I was in Virginia. It was so easy. And that was it. I was like, you know what? Whoever calls me first, I'm going to go with. And they called. And I got in, and I did it. And I went in the academy with some guys I knew that were all military. And I wound up, I think it was like 4 or 5 months at the academy in Glencoe, Georgia. And then I did that. And after that, I went right to Eastern New York, into Brooklyn, and you work Brooklyn, you can do anything, man. It's I've seen it all there.
I bet you have. So can you explain to us through going through the military and then going through the academy with the marshals, and then being your first couple years actually being a U.S. Marshal in Brooklyn itself, did you have anyone that you looked up to, that took you under their wing, that was a mentor, or helped influence you into the person that you are today?
At home, before I went into the Navy, there was a couple of people I looked up to. Of course, my dad. My dad worked his ass off. He had 2 or 3 jobs when I was growing up.
Oh, wow.
And he didn't stop to make sure me and my sister and my mom had everything we could ask for. I have great friends that I went to kindergarten with, and I'm still friends with today.
Okay.
And a bunch of my friends' parents, their dads, some were cops, and then some were other city workers. But there was one guy from my hometown who was with the NYPD his whole, when I was growing up, and he went on to become like a first grade detective, homicide detective. And I'm really impressed with him, and he was always a great friend with me and my family. So always on my side. So in the Navy, I had a few guys and girls that I looked up to, and I'm still friends with today. And one or two guys I was in Desert Storm with, and they taught me how to be a cop.
Okay.
And one was my Master Chief, and he reminded me of you. Big guy, man, just great guy, just always smiling. But he walked into the room, he just put the fear of God into you, like he was in charge no matter what. And he mirrored that image of a chief, especially like a Master Chief in the Navy. And then my partner that I was in the Navy with, he was probably one of the best investigators I ever worked with. He taught me how to write reports, how to interview people, and just, took me along. And then in the Marshal Service, I'm still, I have all the respect in the world for all my chiefs I ever worked for in Brooklyn. They all backed me and supported me, and they entrusted me with a lot and let me go out there and do the job. And you try your hardest not to disappoint them and embarrass anybody. And thank goodness I'm here today to say that we made it through. So.
Absolutely. And we're going to jump into all that and get all that out in there for clarity and to understand the story, and for anyone who may be going through a similar situation and they're kind of stuck in the beginning or the middle of it, just to show that there is light at the end of the tunnel and you can make it through. But before we jump into all that, can you tell us about some of the fun experiences on being a U.S. Marshal, some of the stories, some of the experiences, the things that you got to do. Can you give us the full ride on some of the things that we may see on TV, some things that are true, some things that are false?
Oh, come on. Everybody watches the movies and the TV shows, and it's always about the U.S. Marshals. I wish I had that much power. Like Tommy Lee Jones can just order a helicopter and shut down the water treatment plant, Man, you know how hard it is to get a car assigned to you, to get home, the job, it was so exciting. I was in Brooklyn, we did so much work there. Such major cases came out of there. The guys and girls I worked with, man, so many of them are great. They're like superheroes. And, what was so great, later on in my career, when I became the supervisor, that my chief, entrusted me so much and let me become the supervisor of the same squad I was in.
Oh, that's cool.
So now here I am one day working with these guys and girls, shoulder to shoulder, as their partners. And now the next day I'm their bosses. And, none of them wanted to transfer. They wanted to stay there, man. And they wanted to work with me still. And, they knew I was one of the guys and I would fight for them. And, we were involved in a lot of stuff, a lot of exciting things. I did. I was involved in 4 shootings. Myself, and as a supervisor, I had to handle a total of 7.
Okay, wow.
That my guys were involved in. And it's a scary feeling, man. It's not like the TV. It's not like Law and Order on TV or Blue Bloods. You're going up against it, man. And as for the marshals, it's a tough job, man. To go after fugitives, you're going to knock on somebody's door and then walking into somebody's house or apartment. And these people are hiding from you. They don't want to go to jail. That's why they're on the run.
Yeah.
And you go in there and, I say it today to everybody. It's hard to be a cop. It's tough.
Right. And not only with that, you're going after high profile. They may be a fugitive, nationally fugitive warrant for a major crime. Have gone from state to state. They're specifically trying not to get caught. It's not just someone who has warrants for traffic tickets or something like that. You're going after more serious criminals. Yeah,
as you label them, like these are the major players of the game. They're America's most wanted. They're on the run. They know they're going to jail. Hey, look, I boast about it all the time. One of the biggest things in my career is like being in Eastern New York. I was one of a few marshals that were assigned to the El Chapo case.
Oh, wow.
It was out of Eastern New York. And for the Marshal Service, it was huge. But we worked hand in hand with DEA out in Long Island that handled that whole case. And those DEA agents they're superstars, man. They're unbelievable.
Gotcha.
But the marshals that I worked with and worked with me that were part of that, some of the greatest investigators ever, man. And to be part of it is just awesome. It's historic. It's the biggest criminal in our lifetime right now. And we handled it in Brooklyn.
Gotcha. Got a question on the floor from City P. Wants to know what goes into becoming a U.S. Marshal.
Well, today I think I don't know what the standards are now. If it's the requirement to have a degree and to have I guess a good GPA, and whatever you score, you have to take an exam now before getting into it. And I think one of the great career paths for if you're not in the military is if you're in college and you're taking criminal justice, and to apply to get an internship with the marshals in whatever state you're in for what that district, whatever offices are in that area for you. But I think if you're just in college, you need to have your degree, and then you're going to have to pass a fit test and the interview. And you go into the academy for 4 or 5 months in Georgia.
Okay. Gotcha. So you're a marshal for a few years, and you're living the life. You've culminated good report writing skills, interview skills, learned how to handle cases, grown up to the ranks of supervisor, and now things start happening to where if some of your operatives or your agents, or I'm sorry if I'm using the wrong word, marshals that are under your supervision are coming to you with problems, and you're thinking, all right, I'm the supervisor, I can get these problems resolved, and then we can drive on and do business. Well, I'm assuming the marshal that comes to you is a very hard worker, someone who wants to be there, someone who is working very diligently to climb the ranks. I'm assuming. What kinds of setbacks happen in-house that are kind of problems that have caused heartache and pain, bad feelings, or just bad experiences throughout your service with the marshals?
Well, I like how you mentioned that. There is for me, I had a great career and a tough career, but come 2014, 2015, I have a young lady that works for me in the warrant squad, and she was assigned out into the sub office, which was in Long Island, and part of Eastern New York. And she was assigned to the task force out there, and she was one of 2 marshals, 3 marshals out there, and the rest were all local officers from Long Island, Nassau, and Suffolk County.
Okay.
And for a little bit of a while, she was being I guess start out with being teased and picked on and joking around, and then it just started to escalate day after day after. And it got to real bad where some of the guys, she was a marshal and she was a team leader, she was a boss out there, for that team. So they have to respond to her, they have to talk to her, they have to acknowledge her and let her know what's going on. And they started ignoring her and disrespecting her and blackballing her and not letting her know what's going on, and then lying about it to the other guys. So she was trying to push through it and overcome, and then it started getting more where they would mess with her at work and mess with her desk and her property. They would then it just started going up higher to where it was sexual harassment, assault, bullying, degrading. And it goes like that, man. And then she brought it to my attention, and I went to the supervisor out there, and he and I had some words, and he chose the side of the guys out there over her, over one of his own.
Right, yeah.
And then it just went more, and I confronted a bunch of those guys. One of those guys actually wanted to fist fight me at a baseball game.
Wow.
And it was witnessed by a bunch of other people. So I did the right thing and left, and then have to report all this to my chief when you're trying to keep it at our own level, but it explodes. And that a couple of people were moved from the task force. I had to protect her and take her off the task force. And then next thing you know, they're trying to do it. Internal affairs is involved. Then they're trying to squash some of the investigation to protect some people. They're investigating themselves. And then while they investigate themselves, it comes out they say I'm the problem.
Oh, wow.
So like I was a bad supervisor, and she, being there was creating a hostility amongst these guys. But she's this, smaller woman, like 5'2", and they didn't want to take orders from her. Her and I were the only veterans assigned out there,
Mhm.
and which it should not matter at all, but she was she's a lesbian, and she was very open about it.
Mhm.
And some of these guys were actually making remarks to her girlfriend.
Oh wow, took it that.
All
Oh.
sexual improprieties, you just can't make it up. I mean, the things that were happening. So the one officer who tried to fight me, he waits till like a year after they do their little investigations and comes out and turns around and says that for years, and he was afraid to come out and say anything because I was a supervisor,
Mm-hmm.
but that I was a racist. I was in business with a felon.
Oh.
That what else did I was involved with drugs. I was stealing evidence. I filed for bankruptcy.
No story.
Well, you can't make it up, man. And it just went on and on. But these people were protected by my own agency's headquarters because they were a special unit. And the unit they were part of is funded by Congress. So the leadership at headquarters, which is in Arlington, Virginia, this would look bad on them. Not a female deputy marshal who's a lesbian and a veteran is being sexually harassed and assaulted and bullied by these special police officers.
Mm-hmm.
So it was easier to come after your own.
Yeah.
And try to shut it down, but I wasn't going to let that happen. And I went right to my chief. I told him what was going on. I was interviewed. I was followed, investigated for years, and investigated as if I was a criminal. And I was still working while this was going on. And then, they came after me with some agency administrative violations, that I violated the code of professional responsibility because, in the opinion of a chief from headquarters, that she felt I lied to internal affairs during my interview, that it was lack of candor. And since I lack candor, I can't be credible. And that was their easy way out.
That was the catch-all, huh?
The catch-all. So 2 months before I could retire, during the pandemic, everything shut down. They saw fit that I should be fired and terminated, and lose my pension and my retirement, my medical benefits, everything.
Wow.
Because I was this bad person. But while that was happening, they failed to realize that I was getting awards and accolades from all over the place. My evaluations were outstanding. I have more help and support than, unfortunately, my agency has employees. I collected hundreds and hundreds of letters of support of all of my coworkers and partners and everybody in my district and in other districts and in the task force, even in task force where these bad actors were. And I got it from U.S. attorneys, other agencies. But yet my own agency was like, nah, you're the problem.
Turned against you.
Yeah. And it crushes your clear. I mean, it destroys you when you read about what they write about you, these negative things. And they're doing all this, like I said, and I'm still performing my job while they're coming after me. And you gotta fight through that and stay with it, man. And it's hard, but thank goodness for my wife, my family, my friends. I mean, and myself, with staying focused, and overcoming, and then you got to start to trust new people in your life.
Yeah, right.
And you find some people out there, and they listen to you, and they hear about what happened to you, and they want to know more, and you talk to them, and you hope they can help you. And they do. There's some great people out there that come by, and they're all different types of cops, that that been involved in something, and they heard of you and they know you have a good reputation, and they help you. And it's odd for me to say this now for having a career of 25 years with the Marshal Service, but I have to give thanks to two guys who were in the FBI that helped me. And they were on my side, and they showed me the way on how to get ahead. And because of them educating me, I was able to use the government against the government. And I successfully retired. But I have an appeal for being terminated by the marshals to get my marshal's retirement, to get my back pay, and to get my attorney fees. And that's before a thing called the Merit System Protection Board, which is a government functioned program. And it's been sitting in there for a couple of years now, which it'll take some time. And, my case is very big. It's very complex and confusing. So I have great hope that, we'll prevail and we'll win, because, thank goodness I'm winning already. I got my retirement. So that was the big thing. And I'm here today talking to you, and I made it through.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you did. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to pause for the cause very quickly, and we're going to come right back, and we're going to dice it up a little bit and break it down just to get a more clear understanding. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hey, how you guys doing? This is Sergeant Be Safe, and I'm back in the office again. I know the brand new year has already started, and we're well into 2023. And guess what? It will soon be getting warm outside, and you'll be wanting to do outdoor activities. Be mindful of your surroundings and the company you keep. And if you have to go out by yourself, always keep a vigilant eye. I want you guys to remain safe. Here, I'll give you a scenario. This good citizen decided to take advantage of the warm weather and went for a jog.
Look at this guy not paying attention, looking like a straight victim.
And here comes treacherous Tony on the prowl. Fortunately, I have with me Captain Chaos and his K9 Kraken.
This is your captain speaking.
And we'll work together to apprehend treacherous Tony before he does something dangerous. Put him up, treacherous Tony. You're coming with me.
All right. I give up. I won't do it again.
Listen to Sergeant Be Safe. He gives the best safety tips.
Hey, thank you very much. Take it from Captain Chaos and me. I'm Sergeant Be Safe. And that's your tip of the day to get you on your way.
Subscribe now.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Thank you guys for tuning in to this episode of Black and Blue. We're going to dive right back into the interview. Bobby, can I call you Bobby? Is that all right?
Yeah.
Perfect. So I want to understand how did it feel like to actually be getting slander from your own agency while still working? The guys that you're supposed to know, trust, and report to, or have them report to you, and the uncomfortable feeling that something that could be resolved relatively very easily has been pushed up to a higher level and does not seem to be going away. What kind of effects does that have on your feelings, your psyche? What kind of effects does that have on your family as well?
Well, I'll just jump right into my family. Like it blew my wife away that this was even happening. Like, how could this, turn how does the tide turn against me when, we brought forth the truth, that this young girl was getting bullied and sexually harassed and assaulted by some coworkers, and we followed the procedure and the policies and brought it to the attention of our leadership and our managers, and then for it to get turned around and come after me, that for years I've been doing criminal activity, and all these people knew about it, but nobody reported it until this very moment that I defended the girl. And it's asinine, because I'm a supervisor with over 20 years on the job in one of the most dangerous sections of the Marshal Service.
Yeah.
No incidents, been involved in so much stuff and brought such great notoriety to the agency and to the district. And I have the full support of my marshal and my chief throughout this whole thing, and so many other people, but yet, being smeared every day and being targeted and being under investigation for years and not even knowing it.
Wow.
And then following you just to find something, just because I spoke up and I said something, and from what other people said is like, oh, you went against the blue wall. What blue wall? I just told the truth and defended a person who was being targeted, and then you target me, and then for internal affairs to come after me, like where's their integrity to find the truth?
Yeah.
And come out and be like, you're going after this guy for no reason, when people were making lies about me, and you're investigating those lies as if they're really true to hurt me. And it's just the policies that need to be changed and need to be revisited and looked at, and let's get back to the good and bad of people and put it out there on the table.
Right. I'm sorry that you had to go through it. And I know for years of investigation and then years of harassment as well, that's got to weigh heavy. And it's not something to easily overcome. And the people who did support you, were they worried about your mental health or your financial standings or anything with it? I know the support can go so far, but were there people that were actually worried about you as Bobby himself?
I say yes. There were a lot of people that were looking at me and watching me, and then making sure I was okay and calling me and talking to me, and one of them again is like my old chief, man. And he's as big as you. He's a big guy. He's a tough guy. But he didn't do the job I did. He was he's a lawyer, and he's the chief of the district. He worked in the office. He wore a suit and tie. And even when we were younger on the job, he didn't really get into doing warrants. It wasn't his thing. He wanted to go to law school. But he's a smart man. He entrusted me with everything. And we can talk about it today because I'm overcoming it, but I was always afraid to say it, but always thought that I was going to kill myself.
Wow.
Because I was going through all this and all this pressure on you.
I can only imagine.
And here I am, and my agency's coming after me, and I'm still walking around with my gun, and this is what they think of your employees. You're accusing me of all these things, and you're going to let me run around and still be the boss. Carry a gun. If I'm committing crimes, why didn't you sit me down?
Yeah.
So, but, you got to fight through it, on your own. Like I kept myself busy and I was doing things. And this is while I'm working, but the worst feeling had to be is when I did get fired and I was, with my wife. Nobody's working. They're all teleworking for the pandemic.
Right.
And and you feel bad for like my wife let me feel bad for a couple of days, and that was it. And then it's like, listen, you got to get going, man, and do it.
And on that horse, huh?
That's it. I mean, you can't sit there and soak about it. You gotta survive, and you gotta protect your family and provide for your family and help yourself. I mean, I went out and I got another job here and another job there. for income to come in. I had no money.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful to the VA. Thank goodness, I was able to fall onto them and get help with the VA, especially for medical. And then for my own self-being, man, me and my wife would get up and go for walks. We'd walk like 5-7 miles, man.
Wow.
I'd listen to music and just to collect your thoughts.
Clear your head. Yeah.
But we came to Florida. We left New York and came down here, and I would go out in the middle of the day. It gets hot as anything down here, and I'd be walking for hours, sweating it out, and just staying on the course, making it happen.
Wow. I commend you. I couldn't imagine still working for years. I believe how many, 4 or 5 years itself, going through internal interviews, getting one back to back, being investigated left and right, and still solving cases, bringing fugitives, making cases, and working itself. That's you're getting it from both ends. That's commendable, and that's very disheartening as well, because we hear about the thin blue line. And how we take care of each other, especially in a moment of need. And instead, it seems like it's working backwards, where it's working to tear down someone to try and make the agency save face.
It's amazing. It's a lot of pressure on you. And the way you say it, it's like it's unbelievable. But yes, that's what I was going through every day and for years. And I was able to do it, and I don't know if there's something wrong with me to make me do that, or something within me to make me do that. But
it's that true grit we were talking about.
You got to carry on. You got to keep moving, man. And there's no way I was going to let myself fall down. I was out of it. I was in the dark for a few days, but no way. You got to come back through, man. And you got to fight for it every day. And I'm not, I make a little joke about it to people. It's like, I am not dying. I got too much to do. And on my way home, I got to stop and get milk because my wife didn't do it, man. She told me, she went out for something else and didn't go to the supermarket. So I got to do it. And that was it. That kept me going every day. And, I'm happy with that simplicity like that. That was it. That's all I needed, And for the whole things that happened to me, it was my wife telling me, when the investigation started against us, that she was proud that I protected Dawn. And that was the young lady. So that was it, man. That's all I needed. And she believed me, and she entrusted me too. And it just went from there. But to think that the leadership that I had in my agency could do this to you when they knew I was being a target and attacked, and my life was in harm's way by these people. They knew it.
Yeah.
And they didn't protect me, and they didn't protect my wife. And they talk about this family. My family were the guys and girls I worked with in Brooklyn, and even some in Long Island. They were there for me, and so many others, and I'm so thankful for them. I'm extremely thankful for the National Police Defense Foundation.
Okay.
I got in touch with them. They heard my story and my case. Those guys, they created a legal defense fund for me.
Okay.
They believe me over the government.
That's got to be a good feeling.
It's amazing. And because as federal agents, we don't have a union.
Right. Yeah.
NYPD has one of the biggest police unions in the world, and they're amazing. And I know a lot of NYPD guys. I worked with them in the task force, and they were there for me and helping me and anything they could do. And, I'm so disappointed in my own association. Like, as federal agents, we have this thing called FLEOA.
Okay.
The Federal Law Enforcement Officers Association.
Okay.
And they have legal services, but they actually were helping the bad actors in my case.
Wow. So
it's horrible.
Yeah.
But the police foundation that helped me it's amazing, and I can't thank them enough. And my lawyers, I got 3 lawyers that every day I was afraid they would call me and tell me to give up, that we're not going to win.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And even though we lost, at the little hearing, we went to the next step, and we're in the game now. We're before the appeal board to do something, and we feel real good about it. And I got case law on my side. I got the truth, and I got facts, and that's more than the government has.
Good. Hey, I appreciate you sharing that. I appreciate you. I know it's not easy to go through that and to still be here, like I said, sharing it. What advice would you give to someone with any agency, whether it's a smaller department, larger federal agency, municipal, state, local, whatever it may be, that may be going through a similar situation? I know backstage you kind of gave the analogy of Copland, for those of you that are aware of cop movies from back in the day or so. But what advice would you give someone who's actually in the beginning stages or the middle stages of going through something similar?
Man, it's a hard thing, and I would hope that they have a great, supervisor, a great chief, that can help them and guide them through the system, man. And, listen to them. And, at times I might have said a little bit more than I should have said. And I would tell them to think before you speak, and definitely, consult with a lawyer, before doing anything so deep. But you gotta report things. And you gotta hope that the policies and procedures play out the way they're supposed to, and they don't get manipulated and abused against you. And if they do, you can't give up. You got to keep fighting it, because if it's in your heart that you're telling the truth and you're honest, you can't stop fighting it. You got to keep going.
So just keep moving forward. Just keep persevering. Absolutely. Thank you. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we'll be right back, and we're going to continue on with more of this interview. So get your questions ready. Stand by.
Hello, ma'am. Send me gift cards and your credit card numbers over the phone.
Once Chance Wilder gets all of her information, we're going on a shopping spree. I'm talking Gucci, Fendi, and Prada.
I'll send the police to your house.
You mean to tell me that if I don't send you my credit card numbers over the phone, you're gonna come to my house and arrest me?
Absolutely. I love shopping on Amazon Prime, especially when everything is free 99.
I can't believe people are so gullible.
Sergeant, be safe. You're right on time. Can you help me?
I sure can. Hello, Wild Chance.
Oh no, Sergeant,
right.
Be safe.
Never give out any credit card information over the phone.
I can't believe you led Be Safe right to us. Run, you fool.
Me? It isn't my fault. It was your idea.
You're caught and going back to jail. Remember, folks, don't buy gift cards and give that or credit card information over the phone, especially to a stranger. It could be Chance Wilder and his partner getting ready to rob you blind. Remember, take it from me, Sergeant Be Safe, and that'll be your tip of the day to get you on your way.
Subscribe now.
All right, we are back. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We're jumping right back into this interview. Bobby, let me ask you this. With agencies all over the country, since the COVID happened, since we go through the cyclic behavior where we're very praised and sometimes we're lukewarm and other times we're just hated by everyone. And we go through the cycle. And we're kind of coming out of the bottom of the pit, working our way back up. However, a lot of agencies and a lot of jobs throughout the nation are suffering with quiet quitting or people not wanting to work anymore. What would you say to those young adults that are graduating high school or that are in college or soon to be going into the military or coming out of the military that are looking to get in the job field and they have questions about law enforcement. What kind of questions would you what would you say to them if they're thinking that they should or should not get into to become a first responder?
I'm still pro cop. I'm pro military. You just seen the actions of those Nashville cops the other day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and they're young guys. You see how young they look? I mean, those guys are superheroes, man. And they stayed on it. They kept move, go. And it gave you a proud feeling to know that there's still guys and girls out there that are willing to do it all to help somebody.
Yep.
And I applaud those guys. They're unbelievable. And
likewise, shout out to those guys for a job well done. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think I was very lucky. Like I said, working in Brooklyn, I worked with the NYPD. I mean, it's the biggest police department in the world. I worked with some of the greatest detectives ever and sergeants and lieutenants. I mean, superstars. Mm-hmm. And I think cop work is great, man. And I was lucky enough. I supervised the internship program, so I had college students in my office, and pushing them forward. And they put me down as their recommendations when they went on to police departments or in agencies, and they became great officers today. And it's a great job. Mm-hmm. You just got to want to do it in your heart and be able to go forward to help, because all you're doing is helping people. Mm-hmm. And sometimes some bad things happen, but you're trained and prepared and ready for it, and you act. And we all saw it yesterday with those cops from Nashville. I mean, they're heroes, man, and they did it. It took them a couple of minutes, and they took care of the problem.
Yeah.
Thank goodness, man. But I'm pro cop, and I think things are going to turn around. Mm-hmm. And the public's going to realize, the whole country's going to realize that it's hard to be a police officer. You expect so much out of men and women that come there, and keep it in mind, like, a cop is still a person. It's not he's not Iron Man coming there and is bulletproof, and not a doctor or a scientist or an airline pilot, just a guy or girl. It's somebody's brother or sister or mom or dad, or it's a person that's coming there to try to neutralize the problem. And if the public can see that and accept it, and remember, the public's the one that called the cops. The cops didn't call you.
Absolutely. Good point and good answer. Let me ask this, the second part of that question. For those seasoned vets that are now quiet quitting or just have had enough from all these years of being defunded and anything else that may have happened, what would you say to those guys who are still hanging on by a thread and they're just trying to make it to the end of their career? That's
a dangerous thing to do. And if you're over 20 years or 25 years, and you're just sitting there trying to get an extra $10 in your retirement check, you better get the hell out, man, because you're only going to hurt yourself or somebody else. And you're not doing justice to your own family or to anybody else. But go out with a good feeling, like, look, I'm really disappointed in what happened to me, but I'm not going to turn my back on any other brother or sister in blue that I know. And I get phone calls every day, or text messages looking for some advice or help or an idea. And I do it all the time, and you got to stay positive. You got to stay focused, and you got to be alert. And for these older guys and girls that are on the job, come on, you need the younger generation to come in. And, for me, when I was a boss, I realized, I used to be a superstar on the street and I was great at it, but you get older, like the younger guys and girls I worked with, man, they're unbelievable. And you got to trust them and let them go do the job, because that's what my chief did. He let me go do it. And he let me pick the younger guys and girls to do it that can do the job.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the ones I worked with, man, I would, I'd walk through a fire with them without looking back,
Right.
knowing I can get through the other side. And they were great.
Good answer. Good answer. I like that. I remember when I was telling you backstage, I was listening to one of your interviews, how you said, you could be a rock star on the street, but then you got the newer guys where you got newer technology coming in, a new way of thinking, and they're actually getting it done in a way that you haven't thought of. As you see, as the profession is changing and evolving, it's time to get out the way and let them do their job, but still be a mentor or supervisor, or you'd still be there, but you're just not at that ground level.
Exactly. And you got to know that as a senior person on the job that, you used to be like that. Mm-hmm. So give them their space and let them prove that they can do it and empower them to do it and get it done and protect them when they need protection.
Exactly. Kind of want to change gears right now. So we had a great conversation and a great discussion, but if I hate to word this question in this way, but it kind of brings it all full circle. What your end game goal, next 3 to 5 years or so, what would be your end game goal? Where Bobby would like to be? Where would you like to be personally? Where would you like to be with your experiences and how it has helped other people? Where do you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, I'm very fortunate right now. I'm in the middle of writing a book, which it's amazing. It's great therapy. It's motivating. It gets you going. And I hope I get out there. I like talking to people about what I've been through and how to overcome it and, motivate and stay focused. I get into it. I think I bring a lot to the table I was very successful at work and I had some great programs and being able to motivate people to keep forward. So I hope, I get the book to come out and I hope I'm able to get out there and participate with some talking groups and help other people through it, man, and even police departments and agencies, and go back to helping students in college, getting them through. So I'm hoping I can make that happen. But I'm happily married. I live in Florida. It's me and my wife, where I'm retired and I work, for a private organization. We're living a good life, thank goodness.
Good for you. Good for you both. Absolutely. And any expectations on when the book may be? When are you looking for to have this book published? Rough estimate.
I don't know. It's been taking a little while just because there's so much to it, and we try to put a lot of stories in there about my career and then about the story we just talked about, what going through that. So Natalie Riley, who's writing the book, is getting, I inundate her with some more information, so it delays it. But it's exciting. It's exciting. I don't mind, Hopefully in a few more months, it'll be out there.
Okay. All right. Perfect. And when you do, you got to let us know so we can put the link out there so everyone who's watching this and the replay can get their own copy and experience the story for themselves. I know I'm going to get a copy, and I'm looking forward to diving into that. Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. So with the course of conversation, there may have been something that I may have forgotten to ask, or we may have been talking and it jogged your memory, and it might have touched on something. Is there anything that we haven't touched on, or something that you would like to reiterate that we haven't discussed as of right now? Anything at all? Right now, the floor is yours.
No, because I really want to stay, focused and motivated to help your brother and sister out. I mean, I've went through a lot, and I found that self-healing with my wife and my family was the best remedy, and knowing that I told the truth and I have the facts on my side. I did it within. I don't know how to really put it out there, but I didn't rely on medication or alcohol or drugs or or even religion. I was kind of hard-headed and stubborn, and beat myself up, with my thoughts. The demons can get to you, but you got to fight through it. And I would do that by, like I said, walking or jogging for miles and sometimes hours outside, listen to music. And then, you got to get a job. You got to go to work. You got to, prevail. You got to overcome. But I wouldn't, I wish I could change things that you never went through any heartache or any, any kind of torture like this, but you can't, but you just got to accept it, and, it sucks, your feelings get hurt, but that's all they are, feelings, man. You can brush them aside and get new feelings and feel better about yourself and feel better about everybody you're with. And I hope that's what I can put out there to everybody else that's going through some tough times, because it just breaks your heart when you hear people who've been through less than what I'm going through, and then those who've been through worse than what I'm going through, and they take their life, and it crushes you, and you find out that they're a veteran and they were a great guy or girl at work on the departments or a first responder in any way, and they were getting, the demons got to them, and it sucks. And my heart goes out to them and their families, and hope that they can get through each day better and better, man.
Yeah, likewise. I know it's tough to hear those stories, especially the ones that you may or may not be aware of. Then when you actually they self-delete and you find out about it, like, man, you wish there was other ways that they would have got help, or someone would have reached out, or they would have reached out and got the help as well. And to find individuals such as yourself and others that have been on the platform that actually have persevered and overcame certain situations, whether in-house or out of the agency, is it's inspiring story, because I do like to put the positive out there. There is a light at the end of the tunnel.
And it's a bright light, man. And you can always get better than you are today. It's only you holding you down to do something. I mean, simplest things. I mean, I go out there sometimes and I'm picking the weeds out of the flower bed, and, just to do something. Yeah. You got to get things going, and otherwise you'll sit there and you let it build up in your head, and you forget, and you can't let that happen.
Yeah. Yes. Hey, thank you for coming on here and sharing your story and showing the positive outcomes and I know you're still going through some things, but you're here, you're upright, you're very you're open book, literally, since you're writing your own. And these experiences are beneficial. I appreciate you coming on the platform. I know everyone in here, give them some hearts, give them some thumbs up, give them some likes, ladies and gentlemen, because it's not easy to come on a platform and then share a story, especially a story of this magnitude. So thank you, Bobby, for doing that. I appreciate you.
No, thank you very much. And just like you said, man, it's hard to get out there and start talking, but once you get to do it, and people hear what you went through, a lot of people can relate, man. And just trying to get it out there and let them know that as long as you know the truth in your heart, you can win.
Absolutely.
But thank you very much for giving me this moment, man. I really appreciate it, and call me back anytime. This was I love it.
Absolutely, definitely will. Don't be, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, don't be surprised if you happen to see him back on the show, especially if his book comes out. Then we're really going to talk about, we got to promote the book and we got to get that out there. So then don't be surprised if you see him again.
That'd be awesome.
Yes, it will. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is Black and Blue. This is the live show where we go live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time weekly, and we go live with the guest again who is in law enforcement or a first responder, whether they're rookie, whether they're seasoned, or whether they're retirees. They discuss their experiences, they discuss their publications, they discuss any kind of trainings or things along those lines. Okay, so make sure you guys tune in, tag, like, and share. Tell your friends about the show. We have fun on here. I enjoy having the show. I enjoy having the guests. We try and humanize the badge. So get your questions ready. Those of you that are in law enforcement, ask your questions. Those of you that are thinking about law enforcement, get those questions ready. And those of you that just want to know more about what law enforcement does on the stage and behind the scenes as well. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm Coach Clee. 10-4, over and out. Oh, stand by.
Insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
Sergeant Be Safe here, and I'm stuck in the office. I'm stuck. You want to know why? I'll be completing reports for stolen vehicles. Yeah, that's right, stolen vehicles. I tell people all the time to lock their doors and put away their valuables. However, this continues to happen. Do you know that about approximately 95% of all auto thefts can be prevented? Here, let's go for a walk, and I'll show you a few examples. Example number 1. You go to the store and you leave your car running. Little do you know that Chance Wilder is on the prowl. He sees your car running with the door unlocked, gets in it, and they're off! Have to start.
Oh no!
Frustrating. Let's move on to example number 2. You're at home and the car's parked for the day. But you feel safe and secure and believe this could never happen to me. And there's Rob You Blind going from car to car. Just got caught though.
Poopa, be safe.
Hands up. You're coming with me.
Ooh.
People leave their car doors unlocked, and believe it or not, their keys in them. Here's video footage of someone going onto someone's driveway and entering their car, and guess what? Stealing that too. Even if you don't keep your car key, don't keep your spouse's key in the vehicle either. Believe it or not, they park right beside you. So therefore, take the extra step, lock your vehicle, and take your keys inside. So here's a little bit of information for you. If your car is ever stolen, and then I find it and recover it, it's usually not in the same condition that it once was. It could have been involved in a motor vehicle accident because of joyriding, or just have more dents, scratches, and damage on it. You'll get an incident report and a tow bill. Your insurance company may cover the towing and recovering fee, but you could also have to come out of pocket with some extra expenses. So now let's move on to example number 3. Parking lots at major businesses are prime targets. Lock your doors, put valuables away, park in well-lit areas, and definitely do not, I cannot stress it any harder, leave your vehicle running in the parking lot. Because no matter how many times Rob You Blind and Wild Chance go to jail, they will always take advantage of a prime opportunity to take your valuables or steal your vehicle. Don't be an easy target. Hands up, you both are coming with me. Ooh. These are just a few examples of how you can protect yourself and be vigilant with your property. And that's your tip of the day to get you on your way.
Subscribe now.